Beautiful friends, welcome back to the channel. My name's Sean. This is Follow Your Path. This channel is going to always be in support of you remembering who you are beyond the fragmented ego persona that got shaped and molded through your childhood experiences when you were just trying to figure it all out and deal with very challenging internal emotional stuff. This is all about discovering who you are beyond all of that. The unique self, the what you were created to be by the fabric of the cosmos. That seems like a worthwhile endeavor to explore in this human experience. I don't know, call me crazy. But if you're here, you're obviously on that journey. So welcome. Thanks for coming back. If you're new, awesome to have you. Today, I want to start with a quick little story of a meditation that I had this morning. And guys, this is highlighting the importance of meditation and finding real stillness with yourself. So I've been meditating for many years now. There's days that I miss, although I can really feel it when I do that. But I had missed the last couple days. Every time is different. That's the interesting part, is every time you sit down for a true meditation, it's going to be a different experience, and that makes it interesting. So in this particular one this morning, I was having trouble in the beginning. I was uncomfortable. My body was kind of squirming a little bit. My mind was trying to come up with things to go do instead. Usually, if I wake up later than I want to and I feel like I'm behind on the day, then that part of my mind will win. But when I get up at the time that I'm supposed to for myself, it's very easy for me to be like, no, 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 this is number one priority right now. And honestly, it's the most important part of the day. And if I skip it, it's a big deal. But, anyways, I'm feeling uncomfortable, as I'm sure many people, especially when they start a meditation practice, will find. Now, the more times you can not allow your mind to win and you control your own body and you are the master and uh, I don't want to say the word force, but maybe um, choose to keep yourself parked in the chair, you start to gain a little bit more control over the animal nature of yourself. You gain a little bit more control over the ego. So, anyways, I'm uncomfortable for at least a few minutes, and then I start to drop in. I start to find that nice, relaxed place, and I can feel it. The switch is starting to go over to my right brain. I'm starting to drop down into delta or theta, and the idea, or what I became aware of when this happened, was my body, and I was just observing it, and I decided to observe it with as much love as I could possibly bring forth. And I started to feel into my body in a deeper way than almost ever before. And I just kept saying the words, I love you. I love you so much. Thank you, body. I love you. I'm so grateful to have you for this lifetime. Like, thank you for being my vehicle for this journey. You are beautiful. I was just kind of going into this place of um, deeply giving that love to my body. And it was like this beautiful feeling of my body responding back to me. And it was like my heart bursted open. My body was like, oh, it was almost like a mix of relief and excitement and joy that we were sharing this connection together. And it just made me, it's kind of like, what comes to mind is the magic carpet in the Aladdin movies, how it's just so there to serve him and to take him where he needs to go and to help him get out of tough, challenging situations. It's just there in full service, right? And our bodies are the same thing in so many ways. It's this incredibly cosmically intelligent suit that we have that we can do so many interesting things with, but we're so out of our bodies and into our heads that we have very little access to these things. And if you're like me for most of my life, the connection we had with our bodies, not only was it minimal, but it was also pretty negative. It was pretty demanding, and it just, there was very little of it being seen through the eyes of love. And I think most of us were conditioned this way. So when I made that connection this morning, it really tuned me into how important it is for us to connect with our vessel. I mean, think about it, right? There were thousands of lifetimes and stories and so much energy that went into forming and creating and getting the body that you're in ready for you for this lifetime. It's easy to take it for granted, but when you really think about that, that's like, whoa, right? So much happened to design this. So much went into this. It is a miracle in itself. And again, it's so easy to take it for granted. So I just wanted to begin this video and invite you at some point today to put on some lovely music, maybe from a movie score, something that gets your emotions stirring, and maybe breathe for a minute and put all of your attention and your focus on your body, and try it. Try saying, I love you. Thank you so much. I'm here with you. As if it's like a partnership, right? It's like this beautiful symbiotic connection, and your body responds back to you in such a beautiful way. And I just, there's something about that I love, and it brings emotion up for me because I was so disconnected from that for a long time. Now, keep in mind, your body is your instrument, right? It's got your heart in there. Your heart is that quantum engine that's attracting your experiences, because how you feel about life and about yourself is the experience that you get. Right? So it's like, if your body's on board and you're programming it and affirming it with love, and you're showing up for it in that way, it's going to hold a higher vibration, and you're going to attract more experiences that are based in that love, that are more aligned with who you are. Because when that channel is open and you're not up in your mind blocking it, and you're not stressed out and in fear, the flow it's so clear. There's nothing in the way, so you can get that natural flow that comes through your body in a way that it doesn't for anyone else. Life can dance and speak through you in a way that it doesn't with anyone else. And that is when you really are on your unique path. And you have to ask yourself, like, why don't we prioritize that above anything else, right? Because obviously, operating from that place, you are going to be at the highest level and experience the deepest level of fulfillment. So, wanted to start off with that. And also, that is a massive invitation to have a meditation practice, because we're in the information age. There's more being processed in our minds each minute than like a decade or even 50 to 100 years. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous with what our brain has to process every day, especially if we're taking in a ton of media and information. And there's just, it's overwhelming. You've got to prioritize doing stuff for the mental at this point. If you don't, you know, it, if you have something like ADHD where you experience symptoms from that, maybe this is controversial. I personally have experienced those symptoms my whole life. I don't subscribe to it. I don't say I have ADHD, because I can tell you this: when I am meditating and I train my attention levels, there's not really an issue. But if I don't do that and I'm not consistent with it, then I start to see my attention's very fragmented. And when I'm jumping from one thing to another and multitasking, that very quickly atrophies that attentional muscle that I've built. So I wanted to say that because I'm sure there's people watching that experience the same thing. And one more thing about meditation, which is going to be another reason that you should be doing that. You need to do it. Yes, big word, need. If you want to be the most powerful version of yourself, you want to be the most sharp, the most clear, the most in tune version of you, you can't not have a meditation practice, because that is going to make you sensitive to spiritual energies that your five senses are not tuned into. So you are making your antenna clear to receive a lot more subtle energies that carry way more high frequency energy by doing a practice like that. So, very important. The other thing, too, is that this is maybe the most important time to really challenge your ego identity beliefs. Because as you're transforming and as you're elevating your consciousness, and I've talked about this before, your ego, which operates from a place of, let's say, trickery, it operates from the shadows, it wants to keep you where you've been, does not want to transform, does not want to lose perceived control, wants to keep you where you've been. And so it's going to use all of its tricks, primarily the emotional things that have always been able to pull you, right? Your biggest fears, your biggest insecurities. It's going to use that to try to bring you back down to homeostasis, down to your normal, comfortable level. So if you're in a highly transformative period right now, just get ready to be very uncomfortable for an extended period of time, because that's necessary, and that's letting you know that you're growing, and that's awesome. And don't let that tell a story of any kind. See it for what it is and keep going. And know that as much as you're in that, you're transforming. Old parts of you are dying. Old agreements are being ended. Cycles are being ended. New energies are coming in, right? And eventually those will ground and those will land. But embrace the discomfort, embrace that feeling, because if you do the work now and you put in this groundwork, you're laying the foundation for your path. And so emotionally, it's like fortifying your castle. So when a storm comes, you're not going to get blown over. Things aren't going to bother you as much anymore. Opinions of other people, you don't really care anymore. These are all the beautiful byproducts of going through these storms, right? And I know a lot of people are in that right now in different ways. So yeah, you've got to challenge your ego identity beliefs more than ever. You've got to say, is this true for me? Because the trigger is going to happen, and immediately the interpretation from an old part of you, an old version of you, is going to show up front and center. And can you have the space and the awareness and the mastery to requalify that, to say, that's not true for me anymore. Actually, this is what is true for me now. That's bringing wisdom. That's taking your shadow and bringing it into the light and saying, look, see, you don't have to be there anymore, because this is what's true. That was never true. That was an illusion, but it felt so true, felt so real, but it wasn't. That was a false interpretation from when we were 10 and that thing happened, right? So we're going to be in a constant process of this as we go on here, right? Because it's happening. The energies are moving, the planet's evolving, people are making their way into the chrysalis, or they're making their way out of the chrysalis into the butterfly. Again, everyone's at different stages, okay? Now, what I said at the beginning of the video of tuning into your body, what a beautiful partnership that is, where you and your body are on the same page. You're communicating to one another. You're communicating to source, to life. You're waking up in the morning and taking control over your blank canvas that you've been given, that virgin day that hasn't been imprinted yet, that clay that hasn't been molded, that you tune in with and say, wow, what would I like to do with that today? As if you were getting up in the morning and making an order for when you were out to brunch or something like that. Imagine treating the beginning of your day like that. And all of a sudden, life is like, ooh, hold on. Wow, they're paying attention. Wow, they are looking at me. They're seeing me. And then guess what? You get that beautiful reflection back in the mirror. The algorithm just gives it right back to you. And you're blessing yourself. because you're now playing a new game. You're not staying in the lower awareness realm of third dimensional reality where you're bound to time and space and it's all matter to matter. It's all denseness and emotional craziness. No, you're rising above, right? You're letting go of those things that held you in that lower frequency because you don't want to stay there anymore. You don't have an interest in staying there. It's not that fun. It's not that it's boring, right? How many people are leaving behind that old structure because it's simply just not interesting and it's boring, right? Get the hell out of there. It's a lot more fun, right? And you're going to do this. You're going to go up and down. Talked about that. The main thing is, can you start to operate a little bit differently? Like I said, wake up in the morning, tune in with the day, make your order with a smile so that the old patterns from yesterday and the years before don't try to grab you and put you in the rat race, right? You've got to transcend that. If you continue to run on that track, on that hamster wheel, it's going to be very painful. It's going to really suck and it's going to really just like frustrate you. Like, and that's okay because for a lot of people, you need a certain level of frustration to finally say no. But if you want to know how to do this, the transcended version of you, the highly evolved version of you, starts their day way differently. Their focus and their attention is on way different things for sure. Not what they don't want, for sure, not what their old problems were, because they know better. They know that's silly to hold their attention on those things that lower their energy. That's very silly to do that, right? Logically, of course. But yes, we have patterns. That's why we do it, right? We've been practicing them for years. Now, to get rid of the patterns, it's not this, your ego would think, oh, I have to do all this work and all this heavy lifting. And it's just a little tweak, a little choice, right? Can you create enough space to make a new choice in that moment of where your attention is going? You find I've said this before too. This is the time to be the good shepherd, right? If a sheep gets lost from the flock and it starts wandering over to, what am I going to do? This thing's happening and I don't know how I'm going to fix this and my I got fired from my job and this relationship's not working. When that sheep goes that way and starts doing that, bring it back. Bring it back to wholeness, bring it back to peace. Bring the attention over to the beauty, the vision, what you're excited about, loving God, loving source, loving you. There's so many good places that you can hold your attention on. That's elementary, that's old, that's lower density shit. Okay? Let's use our spiritual wisdom. It's time. That's why the Aquarian age is here. And you're going to see a lot of folks around you going the opposite way. Don't judge them because that's you judging you. Just let them be where they are and just send them some love. Challenge yourself too. See if you can hold the light. See if you can see their divine truth. And yes, the distortions are going on in the surface, but see if you can just hold the vision of who they really are. No matter what their ego is displaying when it's hurt, when it's scared, when it's triggered, doesn't need to be personal to you, right? You see it for what it is and you maintain the truth of who they are. As Jesus said when he was on the cross, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. He knew how distorted people were because they thought they were the egos. They thought that they were the flesh and blood suit. They thought that they were a finite, little self, me. They didn't realize that they were a child of all of creation. They didn't realize that they are an eternal spirit, the awareness that goes on forever, beyond this body. And this is just a quick journey. They didn't realize that. They didn't realize that they're love. They're just pure love that got covered in dirt. and in the dirt being trauma and hurt, negative experiences, all the different things. This is a time to release what is not yours. Release your ancestors' worries and fears. Release your parents' worries and fears. Release all the models of the world, the perceptions that were from outside of you, and start to connect with your own divinity and heart so that you can co-create that new perception with that which created you. And now you're in the dance. Now you're in the flow. Now things get interesting. Now the miracles start coming. Now you're opening up and you're going, let's do this. I'm ready to go. Let's dance. Show me more. Let's see it. And then you start getting dazzled. And then you start to see the synchronicities and you want more and you want more and you keep going. And pretty soon you're like, I can't ever go back. And then your body's like that magic carpet, and it's like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I want to help you elevate higher. Because now it's not worrying about dying anymore. Because that higher consciousness is starting to really land, right? Your awareness is starting to get up into the heart chakra, up into that Christ light, into the place of oneness, and you remember who you are. Imagine that. You get to do that in this one, right? Yeah, you do. Big love, you guys. We're doing this. We're changing the planet. We're changing our communities, our families. If you're watching this, I know that in some way, shape, or form, you are a leader on this path. And I know how wild it gets, how intense it gets, how clouded the vision can be where no sunlight's coming through. I get that. Get the support that you need. Stay on the path. Keep showing up. Don't let this part of your mind own you. Do the meditation. Dedicate and give your devotion to this so that the storms can roll through and you get to just shine in your light more and more. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm going to see you soon. And as I've said before, more details on the group program coming shortly. And until then, sign up for an activation session and watch how much this strikes you like a bolt of lightning. And if you're very serious about fully stepping onto this path and fully becoming liberated in an authentic way that is beyond anything that you've ever known, and you're ready to go all in, sign up for coaching. It's the fastest path, right? When someone's holding that frequency and you're showing up in that way and there's a clear path, miracles happen. It's incredible. That's why I do it. Dedicated my life to it because I had that for me. And now I provide that for others. And I'll do it the rest of my life. That's all I've ever cared about. I'm obsessed with this stuff. I want to see humanity rise and evolve and win. And everybody come together. And for those who are wanting and desiring to master who they are, to get what they need so they can open up and be an antenna that anchors in these Aquarian energies so that we can manifest and anchor in heaven on earth, the new timeline, the Aquarian age, right? And we can change what's on the outer screen very quickly if enough of us are doing this. Big love, everyone. I'll see you soon.